Well, we're back, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed our last video. Now it's time to elaborate on some of the points that we discussed last time. I didn't go into too much detail with some of them, but on today's episode, I really want to talk to you guys about the power of saying no, the ability to say no to somebody, because you'll find in life, people are going to always ask you to be doing things, and it's really up to you to protect yourself and guard yourself, because some of us, myself included at one point, I was a big people pleaser. I was always trying to make everybody happy, and people would ask me to do things even when I wasn't really in a position to do it. And what would almost inevitably or invariably happen is I would do the favor for somebody at my own detriment, and then I'd be upset with myself for, hey, why did I just do that? I didn't put myself first. And I know some of you may think some of our lectures are a little bit what's the word? Perhaps make us or make me to be a little bit selfish, but this isn't about being selfish. This is about protecting yourself and taking care of yourself before you take care of somebody else, because ultimately you can't really help somebody else before you've helped yourself. And this doesn't apply to everybody in every situation, but for those of us in the people-pleasing mode, it's definitely a useful strategy to take the weight off of your shoulders and, as we've discussed, living a more stress-free life. So, how to say no. For many of us, it's hard to say that, especially when we're talking about friends or family. I'm an attorney. Clients all the time over the years have got used to my nice demeanor, so I seem to be the go-to guy every time they need something done. And I don't care about the money part, but it got to the point with me where clients are just asking me to do random things that they could perfectly do on their own. And so what I want to talk to you today is about how to address people that want you to do things that you really aren't necessarily wanting to do or can't do, but you're afraid to say no. And why are you afraid to say no anyway? What do you think will happen? Well, the mindset for some of us is that if we say no to this person or the people asking us to do them a favor, that maybe they'll get mad at us, or perhaps they won't like us, or maybe they'll say something negative about us. For those of you who come from a bullied background, maybe you're worried they'll beat you up or say something really nasty and make you cry. Let me tell you something. None of those things will happen. And if they do, call the police. Okay, because I used to be of that mindset, and it's probably some bad programming from my own youth, but generally speaking, nobody's gonna do anything to you if you say no. In fact, this may come as a surprise to some of you. Once you learn to say no to people, they won't actually dislike you at all. What will end up happening is they will, in fact, respect you just a little bit more, if not a lot more. So you'll find this trickle-down effect where in the future, they'll appreciate your time more. They will think twice before they ask you to do something. And ultimately, over time, you'll find that not only will you be respected a little bit more, but you'll feel less pressure and you'll be able to focus on your own life so you can achieve your own goals more often. So let's just move the camera a little bit around here. How do you say no to somebody without hurting their feelings or without, you worrying about them thinking? Okay, we're back. Looks like we had a little video issue. So, where were we? Ah, yes. Saying no. So one of the ways to say no is not to be abrasive about it. You can always dance around the subject a little bit, be a little wishy-washy, but say, hey, you know what? I looked at my schedule, I just can't do it that day. Or I'm happy to help you, but I can't do it until, 2 weeks from now. And, keep in mind something about saying no. You shouldn't necessarily just practice saying no to everybody and everything. You may consider the movie Jim Carrey's Yes, or Yes Man, I believe it was called, where he decided to say yes to everything, and he found he was getting in trouble with his life a little bit by saying yes to too many things. So, if you want to do something for somebody, by all means, go ahead. It's great to help people. But if you're not in a situation to do it when that person wants to do it, you can just say so. Not many people, unless they themselves are super selfish, are going to guilt trip you on why you couldn't do something for them at a specific time that's convenient for them, right? So, if somebody says, hey, can you help me do my taxes this year? Yeah, of course I can. I'll be free probably the week after next, I can go to your place, you can come to mine, and we can work on your taxes. And if they say, well, hey, I need them done today. And that's one thing, especially as an attorney, I found out very quickly, and it was the bane of my existence for years. Everybody comes to you with an ASAP. Every email I would get would be ASAP. It wouldn't end with the person's name, it would end with ASAP. And it used to drive me bonkers. Everything was ASAP, and I thought, you know what? I'm not 911. Like, if something's ASAP, why am I being imputed to drop everything I'm doing for you because you waited too long? And some of you may think, well, hey, you're a lawyer, it's your job. No, it's not. And not for the type of area of law I practice anyway, or areas of law I practice. Some things will be emergencies, and sure, I take that into account and I work with the client accordingly, but most of the time you'll find people's emergencies aren't usually emergencies, or if they are, they brought it on themselves. So it took me years to learn how to say no. And even day to day, it's still a practice. Just the other day, the solar guy came over to analyze my house for whether I wanted to do solar on my house, and he wouldn't even give me a price quote until he ran my credit. And to me, that was insane. Because 4 other companies had come by and they all gave me price quotes, and this guy wouldn't even let me know how much something cost until he ran my credit. Now, if I'm buying something outright without financing it, you don't need to know my credit. But I know the sales pitch, right? The sales pitch is, or at least the background sales pitch they don't tell you is, let's get the customer invested by tagging his credit, so now he'll feel more inclined to go with us. That gimmick doesn't work on everybody, especially not me. So the old me probably would have just been nervous about it and just let the guy run my credit, which, by the way, for those of you listening, that isn't good for you, because every time somebody runs your credit, it knocks down your points. So I said no right away. I said, no, absolutely not. You're not running my credit. I said, I haven't. He's like, why not? And I said, well, I don't even know if I want to use your service. You're asking me you're asking me to buy your service without even knowing what the price is. Or you won't even tell me the price without me committing to you guys. Well, how can I commit to you guys unless you commit to me by telling me what the price is? So long story short, I said no. And it's not always easy, because especially when you're dealing with a stranger, you don't know how the dynamic is. And it's often interesting when I observe people, they sometimes are more afraid of saying no to a stranger than they are their own friends or family. And really, strangers are the people you should be most inclined to say no to, or be able to stand up for yourself. Because this isn't just about saying no. This is about, like I said, standing up for yourself and being able to be and embody who you are as a person. Because if you don't, all you are is just this robot that's subject to everybody else's wills and volitions. And that's no way to live. I promise you, you'll be a very unhappy person over time if you're always just jumping every time somebody else tells you to jump. And it takes time, and I myself work on it every day. So I hope you've learned something today, but in a nutshell, I want you guys to practice on saying no to people. Nothing's gonna happen. They're not gonna do anything to you. Nobody can force you to do things. Don't be afraid to say no, but do it in a nice way or a gentle way. Or if you can do it, do it around your schedule. I'd love to help you. I can help you tomorrow. No, but I really need help today. I need to do it this afternoon. You know what? I'm busy this afternoon. I'm sorry, I can't help you. But if your schedule changes and you can do it tomorrow when I can, let me know. But there's so many ways to do this, and honestly, I'm telling you the truth here. You'll see it in your own day-to-day lives. Your life will be better, you will feel more confident with yourself, and more importantly, you will be a happier person. I found one of these stressors in my life was the fact that I was getting mad at myself all the time for not standing up for myself and not saying no and catering to everybody else's whims instead of catering to my own. So I hope that lesson has helped you with something in your life. Practice it. These things aren't overnight successes. These are things that you have to work on day in, day out, week in, week out, year in, year out. But you'll get there, and with these implementations, you will live a much more stress-free and a happier life. I guarantee it. So thank you, and I will see you guys on the next video.